Good afternoon. We will call the Diversion Authority January 23rd meeting to order. And first item is roll call of the members.
Mayor Carlson.
Here.
Mayor Dardis.
Here.
Mayor Mahoney.
Here.
Mr. Breitling.
Here.
Mr. Hendrickson.
Here.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Here.
Mr. Ebbinger.
Here.
Ms. Kolpak.
Here.
Mr. Campbell. Mr. Capitan. Mr. Grimberg.
Here.
Mr. Steen.
Here.
And Ms. Morgan.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you, Don. Next item is looking for a motion on approval of the minutes from December 19th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is the approval of the minutes from the January 9th planning meeting. Is there a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. At this point, I would like to call up Chad Peterson to the rostrum behind me here. And I believe Mary Sherling is online from a warmer climate. Mary, are you with us? Board, what we are going to do is present Chad with a gift for his 12 years serving on the Diversion Authority. We have a similar gift for Mary Sherling when she returns from Florida. We'll present that to her. And so after we get a picture with, or I'd like to get a picture with the entire board. And before we do that, though, I'm also going to have him hold that.
Yes, this is overtly nice.
And then we have a gift for last year's chair, Mayor Shelley Carlson. So if I could have you two stand, or all of us stand, please.
Is that a picture of Moorhead?
Weird, huh?
Kind of squeeze in here if everybody could for a picture. Gotta get the award, hey?
Oh, I'm down so you can see. Picture. We take instructions. Here we go.
All right, on behalf of the Metro Flood Diversion Authority, I'm pleased to present our honor and our recognition and gratefulness for Mayor Shelley Carlson for her leadership last year, and Chad, years serving on the Diversion Authority Board. Thank you very much.
And I'm sorry I missed that.
Mary, this is great. You're going to be shocked.
Chad?
Mayor.
I was amazed that she was muted.
Thank you.
It's musical chairs with the music stuff.
Right.
All right, go ahead. Sure. I'm gonna give this card to Dave.
Thank you.
Now that goes to Dave.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you once again. Next up, I'd ask for a motion to approve the order of the agenda with the exception of 9C being pulled off the agenda for further discussion at maybe our next meeting. Is
So moved.
there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consent agenda. I would ask for a motion on the consent agenda. I'd also note that I will abstain from the consent agenda roll call vote given item C3. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Second?
I would just add that the motion would be, or a friendly amendment motion to be A through, or all of the consent agenda except for 6C3. If you're okay with a friendly amendment.
That's friendly amendment accepted. Hearing no other discussion or questions, we'll take the roll.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Breitling.
Yes.
Mr. Hendrickson.
Yes.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Ebbinger.
Yes.
Ms. Kolpak.
Aye.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
And Ms. Morgan.
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Then we'd look for a motion on 6C3.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the roll.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Breitling.
Yes.
Mr. Hendrickson.
Yes.
Mr. Pepcorn?
Aye.
Mr. Ebinger?
Yes.
Ms. Kolpak?
Aye.
Mr. Steen?
Yes.
And Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Thank you. Before I run through a few slides on what we've tagged the state of the diversion, I'd like to request Jason Benson come up to the podium and share a few of his thoughts as he prepares to begin his employment on February 1st.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair, commissioners, board members. So it's a pleasure to be here, having just returned and returned to the Cass County, hitting a lot of my lasts at the Highway Department and my last county commission meeting on Tuesday. But it's an honor and a pleasure to be here and to be stepping into the role as your new executive director. I look forward to beginning of February when I'll start on February 3rd at the Diversion Authority offices, already sitting in on a number of meetings and getting reacquainted with staff and the projects. So looking forward to working with all of you and getting to know each of you better and having those opportunities every month to interact and engage in this critical project. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa Borgen, welcome.
Thank you.
Excited to have you join the Diversion Authority Board. Any thoughts you'd like to share?
I had a 2-hour orientation this morning. I learned a ton. It was very interesting, and I'm very honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Breitling, anything to offer as joining the full board?
Not really. just to listen.
Well, thank you. I know Mr. Captain must have had a conflict. He was with us yesterday for the first finance meeting. Mayor Carlson, thanks for the baton handoff. You led us through an incredible year with progress in 2024. We had our challenges, as we all know as well. I say this same for 2025 is that as I go through a few slides, we're going to have tremendous progress and success in 2025 with some challenges. Comes with any project of this size. So I welcome our new members to the board, and to Lisa Borgen's comment, you've spent some time. I encourage the new members to spend time with staff and our program management to understand the inner workings of this project, to have a better understanding of, financial model, et cetera. And it's grateful that I have this opportunity. I don't know if Chad left, but, on a personal note, Chad was one of the 2 or 3 that had convinced me to run for the county commission, and the voters said yes again, and that by nature, with our joint powers agreement, landed me here in this role after serving 4 years on the Diversion Authority as a city commissioner. And we've made a lot of tremendous progress. When you look back at the years that everyone has dedicated, I don't think anybody has as many hours as you, Mayor Mahone, on the current board, but a combination of a lot of talent and folks that have made this project come forward. And I thought of Bernie Dardis last night. In my role with working and living in South Fargo, fighting the 97 flood, the 2009 flood, serving in the legislature, chairing the Water Commission budget in 2013 when we advanced the $450 million to start this project. Many of you don't know that the first vote we failed. We were 4 or 5 votes short, and the Chamber of Commerce delegation, a lot of the local leaders packed up their bags and headed to Fargo. Made the phone call, I think they were about steel or maybe halfway to Jamestown, and I said, get back to Bismarck, we got work to do. So between that afternoon and the next morning, we had switched 5 votes to approve the Senate version and have that $450 million. And one of those that changed their vote is our current governor, Kelly Armstrong. He was one of the 5 that voted against it. And I think Senator Armstrong at the time learned a lot from Bernie Dardis and the influence of persuasion. I remember that.
That's the one where he refers to that I hollered at him.
So again, it's grateful. I'm grateful for all of you, and I'm grateful for the work, and look forward to this year's progress. I'm going to just cover a few areas and tag this as a state of the diversion. Many of you have seen these slides and the progress that we've made thus far through 2024. if you haven't received a copy of this, we can provide that in this presentation, but it gives you a sense of how much is going on out in on our project, and it's quite profound of the progress that we've made. You look at the construction completion. We shared this 2 weeks ago in front of the North Dakota House Appropriations Committee, and I think they were pleased with the progress because they have some different ideas sometimes or perceptions that what might be going on. So having that opportunity to present to them the facts and the real data, I think was mostly appreciated. Jason just had a few words with us here, and we're really excited for Jason. And as we look to, the 2025, there's obviously board objectives we have is with the board and the executive director alignment with our mission and goals and expectations, and how we work with handoff between various changes in the board to the staff led by Jason, and how we're going to engage the co-executive directors in the future going forward. Mr. Wilson and Mr. Redlinger have done a profound job since April of last year managing this from a co-executive director standpoint. And how do we want to, continue to rely on them with Jason's onboarding as we move forward with the roles that they each have. Issues, we're going to have obviously some potential litigation and things we got to work through with the developer as we go forward with this project on disputes. Things also with the Army Corps of Engineers on 408 work we have to do. We have a lot of work yet to do on in-town O&M cost identification and overall O&M plan as we continue through 2025. And then the coordination of lands, acquisition and transitions from the acquisition to eminent domain to the maintenance and disposal of our excess lands area. When we look to the 5-year strategic plan, things that we're going to have to be sensitive about and understand as we move through this year is our funding and finance. We've talked at the board level and at staff level, the work that our partners in Minnesota are working on in St. Paul with Minnesota funding. We've got work with O&M budgets that we have to define and as we move forward, and management of our contingency, as well as the potential discussion whether or not an additional sales tax is going to be needed as we continue to move down this project with a funding standpoint, so that we have the tools in the tool chest to bring this project to closure when it's completed. From a board policy and guidance, we have to look at what committees we sunset as we progress with O&M and contracting, and how decisions will be made with respect to O&M options and issues. With the Joint Water Resource District, owner versus transfer of assets there, and what role in interface with the board have with that committee. And then the staffing and transition. I think our staff, who has done a remarkable job, certain duties probably are going to be concluded, and what roles do they move into with aspects such as O&M, et cetera. And then regarding our consultants and our sub work, at some point those contracts will either continue or be discontinued. And as I mentioned, litigation is an area we'll continue to work on and be something we'll be dealing with most likely this year. Under construction and commissioning and an O&M transition plan, of course, there's a P3 transition, construction closeout, litigation conflicts, et cetera, the O&M role from, the diversion, and then asset transfer from the U.S. Army Corps, and then in-town maintenance, defining that and who pays and what determines, those payouts. And the final slide is the long-term priorities, who leads and drives the flood flight in coordination with the Army Corps of Engineers and the developer before substantial completion if such an event occurs, and what is the plan and approach during the term of the P3, substantial completion and turnover to the federal work by the Corps. So that kind of sets the stage a little bit. I'd asked staff and at prior meeting for ideas that the board might have, and then working with our program management and Mr. Shockley, helped identify these priorities that with Jason starting February 1st, I thought it would be a great document and segue into his start date on February 1st. So again, appreciate your indulgence on that. And I'm not sure any of the board members ever made a PowerPoint presentation, but I guess I'll be the first to declare that. So again, thank you. We'll now go to Michael Redlinger, item 8 on the regular agenda.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the Board of Authority. Thank you for the time today. My welcome to the new board members. Thanks for joining us. We're happy to have you here joining the Board of Authority. I just want to provide a brief update on our recent work that we completed with MRA. We completed a classification and compensation study. This is really a charge of the board that we get this completed before the arrival of our new executive director. So we're very pleased that our selected consultant, MRA, they were selected from a competitive RFP process, that they completed this work, and we were able to meet with all of the employees earlier this month as well, just to talk a bit about the survey results, talk about how the data came out after we collected the data and put it together into what's called a pay structure or a pay matrix. What I did was include that for you. That's right behind my memo for the board today. And what we're going to do now, after you approve today, is get that implemented. As we said earlier to the Planning Committee and to the Board of Authority, we wanted to create a durable pay structure, something that we could return to not only this year, but in the years that follow in support of our new executive director and his administrative structure. So that's really the purpose and the intent of this pay matrix. It's before you on the screen, and so we're simply asking for your approval of that today. Robert and myself, we will help get this implemented in the last few remaining days before we step aside, and Jason takes the helm. So again, we look for a motion to approve that today. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, and just really appreciate all of our staff on the Diversion Authority too. A real pleasure to get a chance to sit down and talk to them about the study and what their efforts have meant to the program here over the last several years, and we look forward to a continued great success for the program.
Questions for Mr. Redlinger?
I would move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
I just have a comment, Chair Grinberg. Just want to commend Robert and Michael for the immense amount of work that went into making sure that this was something that was successfully brought to us prior to February 1st. I also want to thank Tracy Peters with Cass County HR, who also did a lot of work on putting this together as well. I think that it is very important to have this in place, not just for the operations of the diversion itself and being able to have good communication with staff, but also for the transparency as well. So I'm really appreciative that we're finally getting this put into place.
Further questions? Hearing none, we'll take the roll.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Breitling.
Yes.
Mr. Hendrickson.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Ebinger.
Aye.
Mr. Kolpak. I'm sorry, Ms. Kolpak.
Aye.
Mr. Capitan.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
And Ms. Morgan.
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9, General Counsel update. Mr. Shockley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Diversion Authority Board. The first item that we have before you today for the General Counsel's report is a housekeeping matter to confirm the appointment of members to the Diversion Authority Board and committees. You'll see that in your packet and on the screen.
Looking for a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the roll.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Breitling.
Yes.
Mr. Hendrickson.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Ebinger.
Aye.
Ms. Kolpak.
Aye.
Mr. Capitan.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
And Ms. Morgan.
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Next up, election of Vice Chair of the Diversion Authority Board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next item is, as you indicated, was the election for the Vice Chair of the Diversion Authority Board. Since the chair this year is a member from the North Dakota side, the Vice Chair has to be a member from the Minnesota side of the river.
I would move to nominate Commissioner Kevin Campbell.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the roll.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Breitling.
Yes.
Mr. Hendrickson.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Ebinger.
Aye.
Ms. Kolpak.
Aye.
Mr. Capitan.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
And Ms. Morgan.
Yes.
That is everyone.
Thank you, Don. Next is an information item from Mr. Shockley on the Dispute Resolution Board.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just providing a brief update on the Technical Dispute Review Board meetings. In accordance with the North Dakota Attorney General Opinion 2025-02, the authority, in conjunction with the independent counsel for the Independent Technical Dispute Review Board, we worked to assemble the meeting notices, minutes, and agendas through the two meetings that were the subject of the media request, and also in an abundance of caution, worked with their counsel to make sure that if there was any prior meetings that had occurred, that we'd also publish all of the meeting minutes as notices and agendas. Those are available on the Diversion Authority website. Currently, there are no meetings of the Technical Dispute Review Board or the Financial Dispute Review Board scheduled.
Questions for John? Mayor Mahoney?
I thought in the dispute resolution protocol, basically, they had to meet within 30 days, 90 days, those types of things. Why is it delayed?
There is two boards. There is the dispute resolution board that is set up after the project is operational. Technical Dispute Review Board meets on an as-needed basis. That is the board that was formed. It's an alternative dispute resolution board as recognized by the court system, where you have three arbitrators, and they meet when the parties potentially have disputes that they would like to submit to the ADR process. You'll recall that the Attorney General found that the ADR process was subject to the open meetings law, which is we're still working through how that works in the dispute resolution process. As we noted in our response to the Attorney General, typically the court system favors having alternative dispute resolution rather than bringing claims to the court so that you can attempt to resolve them informally rather than expending court resources. And so that the three-person arbitration panel is not unusual in construction law. And so we're still working through what the next steps are after the Attorney General's opinion, concluding that it was subject to open meetings.
Commissioner Pepcorn?
So, Mr. Chair, thank you. Just a quick comment. I think the word is transparency. And so from now on, all of our meetings, including the planning committee, they should all be public meetings, period. If we need to go in executive session for any of these committees, that's a possibility. But from now on, everything should be held in public. Everyone. It should be full transparency all the time from now on. And if we don't, then we're not serving our constituents. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Pepcorn. Just to assure you, planning meetings have been public. Any other questions for Mr. Shockley? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, project updates led out by Terry Williams with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chair Grinberg and all of the board members. My name's Terry Williams. I'm the program manager for the Corps of Engineers for this project. Happy to be here. This is the Corps' update for the month of January. So for the diversion inlet and the wild rice, all of the technical issues with the gate machinery have been settled, and now preparing for the install of gate machinery at both structures, and commissioning and training should start early spring at the diversion inlet structure, and then for the wild rice, probably late summer because it's more dependent on river levels. For the I-29 raise piece number 3, we did partially turn that over to the Diversion Authority on 20 December for operations and maintenance, and have provided O&M instructions to the sponsors, to the MFDA group, for review and comment. Red River structure number 4, they have been pouring concrete in this cold weather. The gate 3 is being assembled in bay 3, and preparing to install the gate machinery platform over the structure so that the machinery itself can be installed. Big year coming ahead for our largest structure. Nothing for drain 27 or Drayton. SE2A, same situation. We're still concerned about their lack of progress and are working to speed things along. Number 8 are all of our 2024 contract awards. Given winter shutdown, the only thing to share is for Reach SE2B, Zavril has been working on that large concrete weir structure and has installed the flap gates. On to, let's see, number 20, or fiscal year 25, our contract awards, we did award SE3. That went to HSG Park, JV, LLC. They've also done work at Drayton and SE1B for us. The amount was $18.7 million plus an additional $3.6 million in optional work to close the gaps that we've had to leave in the southern embankment so we don't induce impacts on adjacent landowners. Under number 9, SE5, we did hold a bid opening on 18 December. We had 4 bidders, and we are in process of awarding that contract this January, by the end of January, hopefully. And force mitigation number 2, that's our second of 3 contracts. Proposals are due now on the 30th of January, and we want to award that in February. With that, are there any questions?
The recent awards, were they under budget? If so, how much?
So SE3 was under the independent government estimate by quite a bit. I shared those bid results, and I can't remember them right now. They're on the back of the last month's. Yeah, that bid was quite a bit under our IGE. And then for SE3, the low bid was $10 million, and then we had 3 bidders in the $12 million range. And our IGE is about in the $10 million range.
Questions for Terry? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bakkegaard, you've got B and C.
Thank you, Chair Grimberg, board members. Quick construction update on the channel construction today. As you look through the miscellaneous items in Reach 1, with the opening of County Road 4 and 31 bridge, ASN Constructors is removing the plug along the old or existing alignment of County Road 4. Once that is complete, we will have the channel functional from the east side of the County Road 81 bypass to the outlet. So it's about 5 miles of the 30 miles of channel. So nice progress there. Looking at primarily constructing, doing channel excavation in reaches 10 through 13. So those are all south of Interstate 94. Focused on that for the base excavation for the channel for the winter months. Again, note we've crossed over the 30 million excavation mark. So again, making nice progress on the channel excavation as well. A couple of bridge items. 52nd Avenue, they set girders here last week, or within the last couple of weeks, even with the cold weather. So continuing some limited bridge construction. They also are driving piling on County Road 14, which is the last bridge structure that we have piling to drive. So again, all bridges are moving forward. Again, 30 to 60 day outlook. Looking at setting the girders on the BNSF Prosper Bridge. That'll be the first set of girders on the railroad structures. So looking forward to that activity. All the railroad bridges will continue under construction through the winter. That's a heavy focus of ASN for the winter months on the structural side of things. Also for the Maple River Aqueduct, they will be starting the sheeting for the foundation of the spillway structure. So that's the first of the spillway work that we have going on at either of the aqueduct sites. So with that, I know Terry already mentioned the Red River structure. Kind of the main focus there is working on the gate assembly on gate number 3. So with that, I stand for any questions related to the construction for the channel.
Questions for Chris? Thank you.
All right, real quick on the safety update. Again, good safety month. Nice from the last couple that we've had. The one recordable was a minor slip and fall that did require some treatment, but nothing of significance. So with that, I could stand for any questions you might have on the safety update as well.
Questions? Thank you.
You bet.
10D.
So just to highlight some different aspects on the P3, this month I'd like to highlight some of the work that's been going on, especially in the environmental area, since this is a federal project and we do have the federal environmental impact statement and the 404 permit that we are required to follow. I thought I'd just do some updates on some of the work that we are doing, both on the environmental side and the cultural side. This was in one of the slides that Chair Grinberg shared, but if you look, there in their highlight, over 3,500 trees were planted as part of the project of about 20,000 that will be included in the overall project. Plus then another over 1,000 acres of native grasses were seeded in the first 3 reaches. So as we complete the reaches, they are being reseeded with native plants and wetlands. So as part of the 404 permit, there's a requirement to mitigate any wetlands that you are disturbing. That is being done within the channel itself. So some of those native plants are actually wetland plants, so we are mitigating basically as we go. Another thing that I'd like to highlight too is our cultural monitoring. This is something that you have not heard much about, which is a good thing. In several areas up and down the channel, especially near the Maple River, the Cheyenne River, there's significant cultural concerns about artifacts or previous tribes that would have lived there, used those areas for butchering plants or butchering locations, and just preserving those artifacts or preserving any of that history that was there. And so as part of our P3, we did require very limited excavation at those sites, 6 inches at a clip. We're down to about a handful, 3 or 4 that are left, and countless man hours by RRVA and their archaeological team, Beaver Creek Archaeology, and then the Jacobs Archaeological team was out there with them just to verify that we weren't pulling anything up and moving that. So countless hours were spent there, and to date, no major finds have been found, and numerous fire stains are out there that we have uncovered, but have gone through the process and mitigated that. So just wanted you to be aware of those 2 items, that we are in compliance with our permits and then also with our cultural monitoring. Any questions on that aspect of the P3 or anything else?
Questions? Pardon me, questions for Paul? Let's see some video.
All right, I can do that.
Winter has fully set in here in North Dakota and Minnesota, but progress continues on select components of the FM area diversion. I'm Tom Fuchs, Senior Construction Manager for the Metro Flood Diversion Authority, with your January construction update. We're back in Reach 1, near the downstream end of the Stormwater Diversion Channel to start this month's tour. With traffic permanently rerouted over the new combined crossing for County Roads 4 and 31, ASN Constructors is excavating another plug or earthen channel obstruction, this time where traffic was maintained across the project right-of-way at existing County Road 4. Removals and excavation will permanently connect completed channel segments both up and downstream of this location. Once completed, this will add another close to 3 miles of functional internal watershed to the channel's downstream end, meaning rainfall or runoff events internal to channel reaches 1 and 2 can be expected to naturally drain to the Red River. Nearby, and just upstream, work continues at the BNSF Hillsborough and County Road 81 crossings where close to 4 miles of piling will be installed to support the 2 structures. Our drone view shows piling and substructure concrete work underway at both bridges. Work is anticipated to continue at these sites as the weather allows. North and west of the FM Metro at the Maple River Aqueduct, work continues as well. ASN Constructors has now installed false work, a temporary structure supporting formwork and future concrete placements which will make up the walkway atop the structure's south flume wall. Parsons Electric, a subcontractor for ASN Constructors, has begun installing embedded conduits for the aqueduct flume's low flow channel or LFC heating system. Upon completion, the aqueduct flume LFC heating system will operate during the winter months to maintain river flows across the flume, a feature that's believed to be the first of its kind anywhere in the world. Also at the aqueduct, Meyer Contracting, another subcontractor, continues work forming and placing concrete at the structure's wing walls, and excavations have commenced for the structure's spillway nearby. As our drone view takes us south of the metro area to 52nd Avenue West, we can see ASN Constructors placing girders on the channel crossing there. They were able to complete placement of girders across all 3 spans of the bridge, or another 18 of more than 500 girders that will be installed for all structures to be built as part of the stormwater diversion channel. Nearby, in Channel Reach 12, ASN Constructors also kept busy excavating the 30-mile stormwater diversion channel, which can be easier to excavate when the weather turns colder and the ground freezes. In extreme frigid temperatures, we can see moisture in the excavated soils condensing to form water vapor as the soil comes out of the ground and becomes exposed to the much colder air. In January, close to another 300,000 cubic yards of material was moved. While fewer sites are under construction when temps dip below zero, work still continues 24/7 as we work toward delivering permanent, reliable flood protection.
Amy.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Over this past month, we got some good coverage from a couple of press releases we sent out. We got widespread coverage on the year in review information, and then got some nice local coverage on the board chair change. We also helped out with a couple of events. Robert Wilson spoke at the State of the Cities event, and Chris Bakigard at the Red River Basin Commission. Also for awareness, RRVA was a sponsor of that conference and spoke as well, and they also spoke at the Concrete Council Conference. We produced a New Faces video with DJ Gunville. He was an equipment operator that was promoted to a foreman with ASN Constructors, and then the diversion current focused on winter construction. We had a really nice open rate on that one that actually beat out all of our open rates last year even, 70.9%. If you were to look at what's considered a success rate across any industry, they say 17 to 28% open rate is considered very good. So this one turned out very nice. And then 18.7% click rate, which is also very strong for an e-newsletter. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Amy. Jody, are you with us online?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, perfect. If you'll just go to the next slide, please. So this again is our usual map. On the left is a picture of the entire project. On the right, it's just a little bit of a close-up. You can see there's a considerable amount of green in that area. That means that we have acquired all the necessary property rights. Everything in blue, we are still negotiating. And that gold color that you just kind of see on the southern tip of the project, we're finalizing some of the appraisals and waiting for the board to approve those. All of the parcels that are in orange are currently in eminent domain. On the next slide, then, you'll see in the construction footprint, we haven't had any change month over months. We're at 98.4%. And in the UMA, we had just a little bit of a tick up of 0.3% to the 57.8. I'll keep going down to the last slide with the key activities. I think that's one to focus on. We do have continued negotiations for settlement agreements for existing eminent domain actions. I do want to thank Chris and Rob from our legal team. I think in the past couple weeks, we've been mediating pretty heavily, and I do believe we've negotiated a settlement on some properties, probably about 15 parcels that will be going to the board in February for final approval. So thanks to Rob particularly for coming in on a holiday on Monday and sitting with me so we could settle some of those up. Our legal team, again, has been working to close on parcels. So there's 2 parcels with 2 owners in the UMA in the past month. And then we did complete appraisal reports for the Christine Floyd easements and the Cheyenne River benching project. We are continuing through the excess lands process. So great thanks to Sabrina and Eric and his team. I don't know if everybody quite understands how much effort goes into that whole process and how much time it takes us to move through that, but they're doing a great job, and we are continuing to dispose of those excess lands. Madeline's done a great job working on the farmland leases for 2025. I believe we have 5 left. There's going to be 4 in North Dakota and 1 in Minnesota that still need to be approved in February. And then, of course, just a reminder that we have vacate dates for Minnesota properties of April 1st for Clay County, and in Wilkin County we have June 1st, unless otherwise negotiated for a settlement. So I stand for any questions that you might have.
Questions for Jody? Thank you, Jody. Item 13, Mayor Dardis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finance Committee met yesterday. We approved the bills of $4,670,034.75. Our finance report shows that our net cash position is $304,861,402. In addition to that, the approval contracting actions that the board acted on earlier and the consent agenda, those items were also discussed at finance yesterday. I'd like to especially thank the City of Fargo's Finance Department and the county's Finance Department. They provided us with historical data of what the sales tax collections have been in Cass County and from the City of Fargo. The county has, since 2018, the county's contribution has been $113,951,386, and the city's contribution has been $344,902,586 through November of this year. So again, thanks to those folks so in your packet is all that historical data. The reason I bring that up is it's important because when you look at our cash budget for 2025 and you look at our revenues, it was agreed upon, and I think rightfully so, that the dollar amounts that are put on revenues with regard to the sales tax collection are basically very flat, if you will, similar to 2024. And I think that's a good conservative approach to take. So the 44 million and the 22 million is what is in our cash revenues for sales tax in 2025. Let's see. I'm going to defer with regard to the conversation about Minnesota legislator funding. Obviously, that's not in my wheelhouse and certainly not above my pay grade, but I would draw to the attention when one looks at the 2025 cash budget, there's $27 million of Minnesota projects that are included in 2025. There's $2 million for the cemetery. Let's see, excuse me. The Clara Cemetery is $2 million. The Wolverton project is $15 million. And the Georgetown project is $10 million. So again, those projects are included in the cash budget of possible expenditures that we will endure. But at this point, the Minnesota funding is in the hands of our Minnesota friends.
Let's take 13A, and we have an action item there on the budget as well before we go into the other two, if that's okay.
All right. Again, the cash budget, this is the fourth iteration Again, want to thank Paul Barthol and Martin Nicholson for all their hard work. The cash budget for 2025 is $424,055,689. If you recall, we were at 401, then we were at 421, then I think we were at 422, and now the cash budget final number is $424,055,689.
Is that a motion?
I would make a motion to approve the cash budget for 2025 for the Metro Flood Diversion Authority.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll have Don take the roll.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Breitling.
Yes.
Mr. Hendrickson.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Ebinger.
Aye.
Ms. Kolpak.
Aye.
Mr. Capitan.
Aye.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
And Ms. Morgan.
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Thank you. Mayor Carlson.
Thank you, Chair Grinberg. In regards to the Minnesota update, there has been a lot of prep work done prior to I'm not sure if you can say that the Minnesota legislature has started yet or not, but the city has met with Senator Kupek. We also met with both Representative Joy and Representative Keeler, and then met again with Representative Keeler just earlier this week. All of our representatives from our community are fully appraised of the request coming from the county and the city for diversion projects. 16 million of it includes in-town flood mitigation work in the city of Moorhead, which would be for our lift stations, and the remainder would be the county work, including the projects that Mayor Dardis spoke of, also doing that work on behalf of the Buffalo Red Watershed District. Currently, Clay County Commissioner Mojo and Clay County Commissioner Paul Krabanoff are down in St. Paul doing some lobbying work. They have met with several of the Republican senators and Democrat senators, have met with a number of the House Republicans on the House side, and then Representative Keeler also convened chairs of various committees, and I believe it was Paul Krabanoff who gave a presentation to those chairs this afternoon during our MIC board meeting. We do have standing Friday morning meetings that we will be updating each other on the one bill request that we will be doing this year. And also the city of Moorhead employs two lobbyists, one from Flaherty and Hood, one from Frederickson and Byron. And both of them are doing lobbying work on behalf of this one shared bill. Myself, Councilmember Borgen, Councilmember Ryan Nelson will be down in person February 12th as part of the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, and we'll be doing lobbying meeting with different legislators. And our governmental affairs director for the city of Moorhead, Lisa Bodie, will be down more frequently meeting with our legislators in St. Paul. Again, just trying to do as much as we possibly can to get the information to our legislators that these projects need to be funded, and keeping our fingers crossed. Last year, the state of Minnesota did not pass a bonding bill. The hope is that they will do so this year. Thank you, Chair Grinberg.
Thank you. Mr. Shockley, are you going to walk us through an update on sales tax and then guide us into the executive session?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I certainly can do that. I believe that are in your packets. You should have. Is it in your packets? Okay, I didn't make it in your packets. So, briefly, update of sales tax collections year over year. We obviously track the sales tax collections very closely, and through January 1st of 2025, which keep in mind we're always about a month to 2 months late. We're showing collections from last year. The total was 63 million approximately, with a sales tax growth of about 3.48%. Historically, that goes up and down, but the sales tax has been rising pretty well. As you'll recall, the City of Fargo has pledged 2 half-cent sales tax to the diversion project. Those are good through 2084. The Cass County has pledged a half-cent sales tax that is through 2084. Fargo has also pledged 1/4 of its 1 cent sales tax, and that is through 2028 when that sales tax sunsets. Happy to answer any questions, but overall the sales tax has been performing well. Can get into as much detail or as little detail as you would like.
Questions for John? Thank you. Next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item is an item that I'd requested to be added to the agenda for today's meeting. There are grounds to go into executive session as there are pending potential claims and a need to go into executive session for guidance from the board to me regarding an update regarding those potential claims that are before the Technical Dispute Review Board, along with a potential amendment to the project agreement that could potentially resolve those potential claims. And so it would be in the best interest of the authority to move into executive session. And that is authorized under 4404-19.2 for attorney-client consultations and pending litigation. And so the board, someone from the board would just need to read the motion a second and then vote to go into executive session.
Move to approve.
Second.
Do we need that read from the rostrum here, John, or as printed?
Yeah, it's printed on the agenda. It's printed up and.
Okay. Moved and seconded, discussion? Is that a voice vote or a roll call?
Voice vote is fine.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now, you have to come back after the session to adjourn.
Correct.
So just as a reminder, when we're finished, we have to come back down here. We'll come back to order here, and I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, discussion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.